This is Seawolves. Storm? Or not.
Good morning, Seawolves. I'm Peter Bayanden. I hope you're all ready for Thanksgiving break. I know I'm not. How about those final projects, huh? At least the break is starting off on a sunny day. Speaking of the weather, this broadcast is lucky enough to be a joint production between the students at the School of Atmospheric and Marine Sciences and their peers at the School of Communications and Journalism. We believe in cross-training. One of our journalism students, Sydney Riddle, is here to bring us the weather. Take it away, Sydney.
Hi guys, we are here on a beautiful Monday afternoon, just the Monday before Thanksgiving, so the holidays are coming up, and that's definitely reflected in the weather today. It's going to be a high of 43 with a low of 30, so it's going to be a little chilly, especially from the 10 miles per hour winds that are coming from the northwest. Now, as you can see, we have some beautiful leaves underneath us, and this really just shows us they're getting crunchy, they're falling from the trees. Winter is coming, guys, so stay warm, everybody. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Sydney. I've been so stressed and overworked lately that I always feel cold, so it's nice to know it's not all in my head. If you were like, get help. Now, far off campus in Argentina, voters have elected Javier Milei, a radical right-wing economist, to be their president. Milei has vowed to blow up the system. He's praised Al Capone for his free market credentials, and he consults with his 5 cloned dogs for political advice. He calls them his children. 56% of the people voted for him. Perhaps because Argentina is experiencing a triple-digit inflation and the worst economic crisis in many decades. Milei campaigned with a chainsaw, and he said he was going to cut up the political system. I don't know much about South American politics, but this seems a little peculiar to me. Of course, there is the ever-disturbing news coming out of the Middle East. As always, our foreign correspondent and my friend, Christine Kelly, keep us informed.
A top Biden administration official says they are closer than ever to reaching a deal between Israel and Hamas to release some of the hostages.
On an issue as sensitive as this and as challenging as this, the mantra that nothing is agreed until everything is agreed really does apply.
Israeli defense officials have released new images that they say proves that Hamas had terrorist infrastructure at the Al-Shifa hospital, which the terror group denies. The Israelis also showed alleged videos of hostages being moved inside the hospital.
The Israel Defense Forces has a moral obligation to bring everyone of our hostages home.
Hamas is believed to have taken roughly 240 hostages during its deadly October 7th attacks in Israel. Yesterday, survivors of the Nova Music Festival raid were able to look for the personal items they and their loved ones left behind. And back in Gaza, the tiniest survivors of the war-torn region, dozens of premature Palestinian babies, were evacuated from the Al-Shifa hospital and will receive medical care in Egypt today.
Thanks, Christine. Horrifying as always. And as always, the events in the Middle East echo across campus. Last Thursday at 2 p.m., pro-Israel protesters marched across campus in a counter-protest to the near-weekly pro-Palestinian marches. Chairs had been set out on the Stoller Steps lawn to symbolize one for each hostage taken by Hamas. The director of Stony Brook Hillel spoke. A contrasting view was given today at 10:30 a.m. as the 5th pro-Palestinian protest took place in front of the SAC, honoring the dead. Shifting gears now, we go to Chelsea to see what the weather is like.
Thanks, Peter, and happy Monday before Thanksgiving break, Seawolves. The leaves are starting to fall, an indication of winter. An example of this can be seen with the view of Port Jefferson behind me, courtesy of the EarthCam. We can also feel the winter weather coming, with low temperatures in the 30s. Starting on Monday, there's a high of 43 and a low of 30. On Tuesday, there will be a high of 47 and a low of 44. Heavy rain will happen at night. Although this Wednesday is one of the busiest days for travel, you might want to go then, given that there will be a high of 58 and a low of 42. The rain will be arriving in the morning and early afternoon, but it won't be as bad as Tuesday. On Thursday, the weather will be great for the holiday, with a high of 51 and a low of 38 with sunny skies. On Friday, there'll be a high of 50 and a low of 38. And this weekend, the highs will be in the 40s and the lows will be in the 30s. So enjoy the holiday season and remember to stay warm. Hopefully this week's sports is doing better than the weather. So let's see what Mike has to say. Mike?
Thank you, Chelsea. It was a relatively good week in Stony Brook athletics. Perhaps energized by the firing of football head coach Chuck Priori, the women's volleyball team picked up its first ever CAA playoff win on Thursday with a sweep over Charleston. But their season came to an end the next day after being swept themselves by Towson. Men's basketball is now 1-3 after losing on both Monday and Wednesday by a combined total of 43 points. They will hope to pick up their first win against a Division I opponent tonight when they host the Rider Broncs at 6:31 p.m. On the other hand, their female counterparts have been great. The women's basketball team is now 4-0 and has won all of its games by at least 12 points. They've been unstoppable, largely due to the acquisition of center Kari Clark, who is putting up crazy numbers. She's averaging 18 points and 8.5 rebounds per game while shooting 73% from the field. Just ridiculous. After their next game on Wednesday, they're going to travel up to Minneapolis to take on the University of Minnesota, where they may bump into a couple of high-profile turkeys along the way. Peter has more on that. Peter?
You might be right, Mike. Earlier today, President Joe Biden pardoned two very lucky turkeys, Liberty and Belle, to retire to a farm in the University of Minnesota. Today is the 76th anniversary of our hilarious turkey pardoning tradition and the 81st anniversary of President Biden being born. Happy birthday, Mr. President! Well, that's all we have for this week, and with any luck, you won't be on campus for most of it. Get home safe, drive well, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving break. I've been your anchor, Peter Bayenden.
This is Seawolves. Storm or not.